to your point about when was the last time you saw just like a pure movie that was like just about American values and made you feel good? It happened to be last night. Now, not coincidentally, it was from a film that was made 15 years ago. But let me tell you what happened. We didn't get to watch the Kentucky Derby on Saturday. We were all over the place, my family. And so I knew who won because I am in the news, right? So I saw who won. But I asked the family, has anybody seen? Nobody had seen it. So I said, all right, close your eyes. We're going to watch the Kentucky Derby on Sunday night. I'll cue it up on YouTube. And that's what we did. We watched some local pre-show from Kentucky for half an hour, and then we played the race, which was 2 minutes. And we wear our little, I have a little Kentucky Derby box, and we put on fascinators, and we put on fun hats and like little scarves and ascot tie type things for the guys, my sons. It was fun. Anyway, we watched it. And as you know, sovereignty triumphed over journalism, and there's a lot to say there too. But it got us in the horse watching mood. So we put on that great film from 2010 from Disney, Secretariat, starring Diane Lane. It was great. And John Malkovich as the horse's trainer. It was so good. It was made by the same producers, the same producing team that made the movie Miracle on Ice and that did Invincible, which is a great film with Mark Wahlberg. You know, Disney used to know how to make films that were great for the whole family, that had wholesome lessons, that made you feel good about the country and the possibilities here. By the way, I later learned that Secretariat was the only non-human included on ESPN's roster of the 100 greatest athletes of the 20th century. So, or maybe it's top 50. I think it might have been top 50. And Secretariat was the only horse or even just non-human listed on that because he was just what an incredibly talented horse, the greatest racehorse to ever live. And anyway, it's one of those things, not unlike Miracle with Kurt Russell, where they take you back to the Miracle on Ice, 1980, and the U.S. hockey team and just make you feel good about the country and something extraordinary that happened here. But look what a difference. You don't have to go back before 2025. Go to 2020. In 10 years, Disney collapsed on its mission, its understanding of what America wanted, and it's become evil. Yes, I will use that word too for them. They've crossed over into trying to trans our children. It was so recently, Andrew, that they were still part of the good guys.
Yeah, well, one of the things about intellectual dishonesty is that it goes along and then it falls off the table. This is true in individual life and it's true of corporate life as well. And I think that in the last 5 years, we have seen the arts in America die. And that's not to say that no one has produced any good work. It's to say that, as I said before, there's very few movies that we all get together and watch and talk about, very few television shows that really catch fire. And all the ones that do have all been about bad people. They've all been about anti-heroes when they do work because they no longer know how to make stories about men and women who are decent people and are looking for love and looking for the things that ordinary people are looking for. You know, all my life, I have loved stories. My life has been about writing stories. I have read every novel on earth of, of any quality whatsoever. I have seen every movie in the world. And I never cared who the people were in the story. I was happy to see a story. I'm an American. You know, Americans look like all kinds of things. I was happy to see a story about Italians. I was happy to see a story about Irish people, Jews, black people. It never, ever mattered to me whatsoever. I never even thought about the fact that that's what I was watching. I thought I was watching stories of good and evil, stories of hope and triumph, stories of failure and despair, all the things we want to tell stories about. Suddenly I'm being told, and this is something that's happened. I mean, I've had numerous people, friends in Hollywood, who have basically lost their jobs or have left the business altogether because a white man can no longer get hired. It's very hard for white men to start a career publishing novels right now because everybody has to have it, not just be black, but has to have a name that sounds black or at least sounds colored in some way. And this is deeply offensive because after years of reading books like To Kill a Mockingbird, where we learned that bigotry was wrong, we're suddenly being told, no, that was just the wrong bigotry. Once you get the bigotry right, once you're hating the right people, then the hatred is great. Then the hatred is absolutely terrific. And they've turned the values on their heads. And I always tell people, like, the devil doesn't care who gets hated as long as the hating gets done. And so what you have is an art form storytelling that has been completely emptied of any viable content, just in the same way that painting has basically become empty. The only place where you can see visual art that really matters is in video games, and even those are under attack by the woke ideologues. Ideology is death to art. The other day, and this is kind of on what's happening now, I watched that film Conclave, which is about getting a new pope. Well, yeah, you said absolutely right. But it starts out with the good guy in it, played by Ralph Fiennes, making a speech saying certainty is a danger. I completely agree. I think that certainty is one of the big dangers we have. We should all be a little humble, a little bit uncertain about what we believe, a little willing to listen to other people. The rest of the movie is all filled with religious certainty about everything but religion. It's filled with religious certainty about what the church should do about gays, what it should do about marriage, what it should do about about women. It's filled with absolutely intense religious certainty about everything except religion. That is where I think the left and the arts, which the left control in this country and in the West in general, that is where they have come a cropper. They have become so certain. They've become so religious in the bad sense of that term. And they've lost all humility, and they don't know how to tell a story anymore. And it's like, listen, I'm not looking to go backwards. I want to see new stuff. I want to see 3D stuff. I want to see all the new kinds of things. But certain things stay the same. Human nature stays the same. Human values stay the same. Beauty stays the same. And I think that those are the things that have been absolutely rejected because they've rejected all the values of the West. And those are some of the central values of the West. It's been a really dispiriting time for people like me who love the arts. I mean, I have always loved, as the poet John Keats said, I have loved the principle of beauty in all things. And it's a very dispiriting time to watch for 5 years where you can't see anything but a lecture on how all of the things that you have found beautiful and good and true, including God and country and family, all of those things were really just terribly oppressive to some people who have been invented to be oppressed. And I think that it's incredible how empty the stories that we've seen have been. And so when you say you went back to Secretariat, as you said, that movie, which was a good movie, that movie is not that long ago. And even now you see small little flickers of remembrance of things that matter. I saw a movie by Steven Soderbergh called Black Bag, which was very clever and glamorous and sophisticated, but it was about marriage. It was about the holiness and sacredness of marriage. It's built into this spy story. And you think yeah, people can still do this, but they have to be brave enough to do it. And they have to, in Hollywood now, you have to fight the unions who want every story to be about some neglected person neglected
or you wind up like the movie Reagan, where you can't get nominated for Best Picture because you didn't have enough LGBTQs on your production set, or people of color or indigenous, whatever. I mean, go down the list, but you have to have these quotas filled in order to even qualify for the big awards in Hollywood. So it's just, the whole thing is such a farce. It makes no sense. This July, there is a global summit of BRICS nations in Rio de Janeiro. The bloc of emerging superpowers, including China, Russia, India, and Iran, are meeting with the goal of displacing the U.S. dollar as the global currency. They're calling this the Rio Reset, as BRICS nations push forward with their plans. Some worry global demand for U.S. dollars will decrease, bringing down the value of the dollars in your savings. While this transition won't happen overnight, the Rio Reset could mark a pivotal moment. So learn if diversifying your savings into gold is right for you. Birch Gold Group can help you move your hard-earned savings into a tax-sheltered IRA in precious metals. Claim your free info kit on gold by texting MK to the number 989898. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, let Birch Gold arm you with a free, no-obligation info kit on owning gold before July and the Rio Reset. Text MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.